Hello everybody! Are you ready? We have a special guest. I'm sure he is already online, but let me introduce him and also me. My name is Miriam Orlandi. I'm a Italian travelers and friends of 6%, so 6%. And what we are doing now is making a nice interview to my friends and your friends now, Ricky de Agrela. I just wait that Ricky will be online and look at my live and then we will start. But let me introduce you Ricky de Agrela. Ricky is a traveler. He started traveling since he was really young, and he started at 18 years old, just out. Oh, let's see, yeah, Amrip around. I'm sorry, I know that you would like to be online. You will be, not now. We are waiting. We are waiting Ricky Santos de Agrela, where are you? If you don't see my... Guys, I need your okay, because I don't see you. Davide, ciao Davide. I don't see you. So, I was introducing Ricky. Ricky started hitchhiking in South Africa at the age of 18 years old, and what he did was hitchhiking. So after that, he climbed Kilimanjaro, he climbed Aconcagua. That is Ricky de Agrela. I was introduced you. That's my friend, now your friend Ricky. Guy man, you're getting old, we need the glasses.
No, that's not, don't need glasses.
You are not, it's just because it's sexy, correct? It's just sexy.
Yeah, that's only, yeah. I'm just growing my hair like yours.
Yeah, you will, you need. This guy is an incredible guy. As well, you can see on the background, he have a big screen talking about what he did, because it didn't have enough to hitchhike around the world. He also fly around the world. Tell me something about this fly, because I can see some amazing picture, and I know that one of your picture become very famous. The one of the camel. I push you to answer. I love this picture.
Which I don't remember the
picture in the desert from the camel on the top.
Yes. Oh yes. Yeah. And beautiful.
Yeah, with the shadow, you can see from the top. Yes. You just see the back of the camel, but the shadow you can understand that is a camel. You can see the great shot. It was amazing shot. So
yeah. It's beautiful flying through the desert and those areas early in the morning.
Yeah.
You get to see so many beautiful things like that. And when you flying in a little microlight, you're free to go anywhere. So you see something interesting over there, you just go that way, and then interesting go that way.
Because it's not like the big airplane that they have a line to follow. You can move where you want, I suppose, more or less.
Well, when you're on those international flights, you're supposed to stay in a straight line, but you know, it doesn't. Let's just say that sometimes you have technical problems, and you have to go that way. And then another technical problem that brings you back this way. So you know, it's not your fault.
Yeah, it's not your fault. I advise you. Yesterday we was talking with a Serdar, a Turkish guy, my friends, about the illegal thing that happened traveling, and the connection went away. And Guys, Serdar is safe. Nothing happened. No police knocking at the door. It was all okay. It's just lose the connection. So if we lose the connection with Ricky, nothing happened. It's just the connection. So don't worry. So why I choose to interview you? Because for me, you are the example of the biggest travelers that I ever met in my life. You hitchhike around the world. You fly around the world. You take a motorcycle from South America, Buenos Aires, Tierra del Fuego, to San Francisco. Yeah. Then you decide to move because you was living in South Africa, and you decide to go living in Portugal. And in 40 days, you put all your stuff inside the car and you just drive around Africa for a ride in Portugal. That's Ricky. That's it.
Yeah, simple.
I mean, that is what superficially people will understand about you. I mean, if someone look at your curricula, I don't know how you tell in English, it will tell, oh, this is a lucky boy.
Yeah.
But I know more, and I would like that. For example, I know that you do also some charity with hospital in South Africa. You carry on
the Red Cross. Yeah, the Red Cross Children's Hospital.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that is for me a part of the way that you travel. It's not just going around, hang around, like enjoy the life.
Yeah.
What is?
I think if I just interrupt you there and explain something, is that I have traveled a lot and in many different ways, and all the things that you can think of, like going down to the South Pole and climbing big mountains and all that sort of stuff. So it's all been very, very exciting, and from a personal growth point of view, it's fantastic, and it really makes you a broad-minded person, a stronger person, and the most important thing is you develop a lot of initiative, so you're used to things going wrong. Going wrong is normal. And if you're sitting at home and one thing goes wrong, it's like 90% of your life, where when you're traveling and you're doing all these crazy things, 90% of your life is going wrong and managing that so that it goes right.
Yeah.
And I've been doing it for many years, so it sounds to you like I put all my things in my 4x4 and then I drive up West Africa to Lisbon. It's like a crazy thing, but you need to understand the background that I've been doing it for many, many years, and I know how to do things quickly, efficiently, and I know that everything's going to go wrong. So or bother me, and I can go.
A little bit of problem.
Challenges. I can face those challenges quickly.
Yeah.
So the more you travel and the more challenges you embrace, the easier it becomes. In fact, everything about life becomes easier. Yeah. Like now, this COVID and quarantining and all that sort of thing. So what? That's just that's life, Yeah. That is normal.
Yeah.
To a lot of other people, it's a big crisis and they fall apart because in their lives where everything goes right all the time, something like this is a big problem.
Yeah.
But when you live a life of traveling and challenges and changes and everything's dynamic, this type of thing is just another part of it. It's not so I think that's one of the advantages of traveling. You mentioned the Red Cross Children's Hospital. What the Red Cross Children's Hospital is about is I don't go traveling around the world asking people for money for the hospital. No, nothing like that. And they don't want that. What I do is I try and promote the Red Cross Children's Hospital as a charity where you can go and help African children, etc., of Africa. And you can donate money to it.
Yeah.
But the most important message of the whole thing is that 100% of the money, or whatever it is that gets donated to the Red Cross Children's Hospital, 100% of it goes to the children. Nothing goes to any fundraisers, buying Mercedes Benzes and everything. It goes 100% to the children, and you can select if you wanted to go to hospital equipment, whatever it is. So that's why I promote it. And the Red Cross Children's Hospital, because they are 100% above board and money gets given to them. And then the other thing I often say to people from the first world, because people sit in Europe and they look at how sad Africa is and they want to go and hug little crying black babies and all that sort of stuff. Now, if that is what you want to do, let me ask you, please, to help them as much as you can. And the way you help them is by stay at home and rather send the money to the Red Cross Children's Hospital. They know what to do. They don't interfere. They don't destroy people's societies and create all sorts of challenges that ignorance does normally do to those societies. So donating to the Red Cross Children's Hospital is something that anybody who wants to help Africa, that's the way you do it. Don't go to Africa to save them.
we talk a lot about this argument, me and you, when we was in Dubai, invited by Sheikh Awad. And I really appreciate your talk about this. And for me, it's very interesting because being a physiotherapist and osteopath, I'm always interacting for doing my hand. But I realized traveling in South America that most of the time I have just something to learn, nothing to teach. Because it was not my future, was not my situation, and they was better than me to handle the difficult situation. Because they grow up in that difficult situation, so it's better to give an help instead of be there. I mean, sorry, my English. I have not to replace their job. I have to help to do what they have to do, but not be me that go and take the water. I have to learn to do that. But coming back to traveling,
if people, I've got this saying that if people need help, they'll ask you for help. Anything you do is interfering, unless somebody asks you for help. So don't go there, don't interfere. To get back to traveling stuff, I think one of the important parts I'd like to get across in this interview is that traveling is an incredible way of understanding your outside world, but also understanding your inside world, who you are, what you're capable of, and how strong and powerful you are. Because your skills with people and your skills to negotiate yourself around difficult situations, that is what makes you a powerful person. Not your muscles. That doesn't make you powerful. That's going to get you in good trouble. And, together with all of this, it doesn't just happen. Nothing happens. You have to make it happen. There's a saying about, between an idea and actually doing it lies an entire ocean.
Yes.
It's hard work. I've never been on an adventure that hasn't been hard work. And sometimes it's been 16 hours a day, 7 days a week. Like the microlight flight that I flew around the world, that was an extreme adventure from an organizational point of view, from logistics point of view. It was the biggest microlight expedition ever flown in the world. It was 64,000 kilometers, and it was over 30 countries.
Yeah.
Now, if you look at that and you ask yourself, how do you get permission to fly in and out of countries like that? How do you even get your visas and travel into these countries? And you must remember it's changing all the time because the weather is affecting you, because permissions are affecting you in this country, 3 countries later, it's affecting that. So you got a huge logistical sort of operation to do, and you got to do it while you're doing everything else and trying to stay alive as well. So it is huge. But that took us 3 years to organize. Now, the point I'm trying to make is nothing comes for nothing. It takes huge sacrifice. Like if you look at, for example, a well-built athlete or something like that, you must remember that took a lot of work.
Yes.
If you look at a very intelligent person who's speaking well at some event or something like that, you must remember that didn't happen to them.
Yeah.
That they made happen. And the important message I always try to get across to people in traveling, as beautiful and as romantic and as uplifting as it is, it's hard work. There's a lot of sacrifices. And you need to ask yourself why somebody like me has been sacrificing his entire life and working so hard to travel. It's obviously because there are some incredible rewards to it.
Yeah.
You know, the benefits you get out of it totally outweighs the effort it takes to do it. And I try to put that across to people, number one, so that they don't wake up one day and say, I'm going to go and ride a motorbike around the world and think it's all just going to happen. They're going to buy a motorbike and get a motorbike license and go. It doesn't happen. You've got to think about it, plan it, strategize, logistics, work. And sometimes it can take you 6 months. For you and I who travel a lot, it takes us a few weeks and we go. But for somebody who hasn't, you got to work hard. There's sacrifices to make, but it is worth it. Really, really worth it.
Can you move a little bit, I suppose, on your right? I want to show the part of paraglide. Yeah.
Okay, so I'm too ugly. You prefer that?
Yeah, because most of the people
Look, I don't know much Italian. I don't know much Italian, but I know enough. I went, porca miseria. That's the one I know.
That is good. That is enough. You can go wherever in that way. All around Italy is perfect. The paraglide is an amazing machine. I mean, it's light, but it can fly at very high altitude. Because I remember you tell me that you was very high. You can arrive up to 4,000. I remember correct?
You're talking in meters.
Meter, yes, sorry. You know in feet.
Yeah, look, you can go very high. What limits you is really the oxygen for you to breathe. And then the higher you go, like at 5,000 meters, it starts struggling. The motor starts struggling with not enough power.
Oh, okay.
So you're limited by that, but you don't really want to fly very high for long periods of time. And I'll give you an example, like crossing the United States.
Yes.
You have to fly over the Rocky Mountains.
Yeah.
And the Rocky Mountains are very high. You know, the ground level on the ground is, sorry, I know things, we normally talk in aviation, we talk in feet.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm doing a conversion while we're talking, but the ground level is 2,500 meters.
Okay.
And then you get the so you're going to be flying at like 4,000 meters, and flying at 4,000 meters for a few hours, it does 4,500 meters. It does start getting you mentally, and you start getting headaches, and you start not operating very well. Your brain doesn't work that efficiently and things like that. So you can do it, but you don't want to do it for long periods of time. I think the most challenging thing about that is in bad weather.
Yeah.
You know, when you're going through thunderstorms and there's lightning and the wind is blowing all over the place, that gets really, really scary. And sometimes you have no choice, you know, like, for example, flying down the Indonesian islands. You go flying down the islands, and sometimes there's a long distance between the airport you've taken off and the airport you go to land. And, you know, the storms build up. And they normally build up, and it goes crazy. Anywhere from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, it starts going really bad. They're raining hard and lightning and everything going crazy. And then when that happens, you've just got to stay in the air. So you can't come down to the ground. Because while you stay in the air, you can, for example, the storm will be on the land, so you can fly out to sea and stay out there until it calms down. And it normally lasts an hour or 2 hours, and then when it calms down, you can come back.
Okay.
So those kind of things are exciting, challenging.
Well,
flying across oceans is really
For me,
Sorry?
bee is exactly the example about it's very romantic flying around the world. But one thing is romantic, the other part is be able to do it. Because it's not just take the pedal bike and go out. You have to be able to predict the weather, to look at the sky. Come on, it's a lot of job, mental job.
It is a lot, but it's also an out of the ordinary thing. So I don't think anybody should try and compare to that, because I've been flying all my life since I was 16 years old. And a lot of my flying has been hang gliding, which is predicting the weather, what the thermals are doing, so that you can stay up and things like that. So I've had many years experience in it. It just doesn't just happen. You've got to really know what you're doing. But at the same time, as difficult as it is, I'll give you one, for example, is when we had to fly from East Timor, that's at the tip of Indonesia, across the ocean to Australia. That's like 650 kilometers of just ocean. Now, when you take off to go and do something like that, there's a lot to worry about. But you manage yourself so carefully, because you actually make up things that can go wrong. You actually try and say, okay, this can go wrong, the motor can go wrong, the weather can go wrong, and you try and create as many problems as possible in your head, so that you can analyze them and come up with solutions for every single one of them. And by the time you've got all these problems solved and how you will deal with them if that happens, then you're ready to go. But until you've gone through the process of everything that can go wrong and actually answered it and settled down with an answer, you psychologically are not going to be able to go, because you're going to be too scared. Okay. Once you settle yourself down psychologically and all the unknowns, you've satisfied yourself how you can deal with it, then you're in a more positive frame of mind to go. And then when you go and you're out there across the ocean, I mean, it's extremely beautiful, I must tell you. You just see the blue of the ocean, and you see the blue sky, and wherever you look around you, it's just blue, and it is so beautiful. And you look down on the water, and the water, you just see these little stars reflecting from the sun on the water, and it's so beautiful. There's something so serene, and you're isolated, and your life is, let's say, relying on that motor behind you. There's a certain heightened sense of survival and being alive that makes you just look at everything with such detail. As much as there's very little around you other than blue, 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 you still find details to look at. And it's a meditative, beautiful place to be. And it feeds the soul. It's not something everybody can do, but it really, really is a beautiful place to go. And I'll tell you more about the microlighting. Like, you're sitting on a chair and you can look around you. There's nothing between you and the ground and the mountains and whatever you're looking at. There's just fresh air. If it's cold, you're cold. If it's raining on you. You're outside. It's not being on a motorbike, but you're a few thousand feet up in the air. But you can see everything. And not only can you see everything, you can see the way people are living on the ground. If people do certain things.
You're right to see that. You're right to see that, because I didn't expect this. Sorry. You can see on the ground when you fly. You can really see. I thought you was very high. I didn't thought you can fly down.
No. You normally fly very low.
Oh.
It's very rare occasions you fly high. The only time you fly high is, for example, getting across the Rocky Mountains, or if you want to go into Nepal, you're going from India into Nepal, you want to get over the mountains into Kathmandu.
You fly down, so you really see everything.
Yeah, you wave at the children. And they wave back. Sometimes you can smell what they're cooking, because it comes up every now and then. Oh man, I'm hungry now. It's you're totally open, and you fly across a place which is maybe 300, 500 meters across the place, and it's beautiful. It's really, really. Wow. And when you go across some of those big cities, like 20 million people over Karachi, for example.
Huh?
You look at the amount of people down there. It's frightening to see that. And you can see where the factories are, where people live, where the wealthy people live, where the poor people live,
Wow.
and where the offices are on the road networks, where what goes to, and all that sort of thing. So within 5 minutes, you get an overview of the place. And what's interesting is you can see the cultural effects of places.
Okay.
Like, as you mentioned, like you fly across the desert, you can see those camel caravans moving across the desert. And you can see where they're going. They can't from the ground because it's too far away, but you can see all the way there and you know where they're going and you can see what they're doing and how they're doing it, and you can watch them walking, or you're going across the Serengeti in Africa and you can see the animals and you can see where the Maasai herdsmen are moving their cattle to. And it might take them 3 days to get to the water they need to get to. And from the ground, you can't see it, but from the air, you look, oh, that's where they're going. It will take them another 2 or 3 days to get there. So you get to see a quite a beautiful way of, of seeing the world. You experience a lot more than when you're on the ground and you literally can only see in front and sideways.
You have
from
like
the air,
a global vision. You have a more global vision.
Yeah, very often when you're traveling on the road, you're looking at something which is a beautiful view, but you can't see just what's behind the trees or what's behind the mountain or something like that. Whereas when you're flying across, you can see all of it.
Wow.
So you see a lot, and it's an absolute beautiful way to see the world. It's impossible to experience the world in any better way than that.
That's cool.
And I come away from that understanding that I've seen the world in such a unique way. There's maybe 4 or 5 people in the entire world who can actually relate to some of those experiences. It's so unique, and I think I feel very, very privileged to have seen the world like that. And I must tell you the experience I got out of it. It was an extremely tough expedition, very, very tough, but beyond what most people could do. And you land up in difficult circumstances, and you just got to work your way through it. And it brings out the real person in you. That kind of stuff is not about the stuff that you can make up, or saying the right thing, or presenting yourself in a certain way so other people see you like this or that thing. It's not at all like that. You've got to be who you are is going to come out. So it was very, very tough and challenging. But I must say, I've come away seeing the world as physically an extremely beautiful sort of planet that we live in. But all over, the people are incredible. They really, really are fantastic. You know, if you watch television compared to the reality, there's no such thing as what you see on television. It doesn't exist. Or if it does, it's maybe 1% or 0.5% of how beautiful the world is. And I've tested this. I've been into the harshest places of the planet, to Africa, all over. Even trying to get myself hijacked. They didn't work. They just laughed at me because they thought, what do you think? It just doesn't. I had this perception of these places being really difficult and this and that, but when you get there, it's not at all like that. But if you watch the news, it is like that. But the world is a beautiful place. Environmentally, we got some serious challenges, because if you look at how much mining and all the things going on, there's a lot more than we understand. So I'd say on the environmental side. The other thing is that if people are thinking of traveling or they want to go somewhere, don't ever get put off by some fear or what it is, that they're fundamentalists there and they do this to women and then they put people in prison and all that. Don't be afraid of any of that. Don't be afraid of that. And in fact, that's where you must go, because that's where you will learn and grow the most.
Yeah.
And one thing, if you have got fears and you're not going somewhere because of those fears, what you need to understand is that you're brainwashed.
Yes.
You don't know it. And there is no way of knowing it. But if you fear it, you are brainwashed. And the only way you're ever going to learn that is by go there.
Yeah.
By going to those places you fear. And then you will suddenly realize how the things going in your head or the things that have been planted in your head are not true. And I think that is the most incredible experience, to go to places that you fear and come away from it saying, wow.
Yeah.
Then you realize that.
It's happened to me when we was in Dubai, when I take 1 month and I went to Oman, you know, a Muslim place, a woman alone traveling. Oh, what will happen to her? Yeah, but it was so nice. But one day a man take me to his mom's house and he told me, you need a shower. And I showered in the house. And I went out and my breakfast was ready. And then I tell thanks and keep going my trip. And I was in Oman in a house, but I don't remember even the name of this person. But they take care of me, you know? So it's
yeah.
It is. And you say, oh, it's a woman. They will rape you.
But then you got hijacked.
Exactly.
Isn't it lovely?
Exactly. I have a fantasy. I was imagining you flying on Africa, for example, landing somewhere in nowhere, like a little village. And I was trying to imagine to be one of these little child, see you coming from the sky, landing, and what I will think about this crazy thing that is landing and kill humans, because you was too, coming out of this thing and walk around. What is that? For me, it has to be a great experience for you, but for sure it was also for the person that meet you. I mean, the person that get in contact with you. I think it was a very impressive experience also for them.
Yeah. I've done a lot of that in Africa, a lot. Landing in villages and like way up into the bush where there are no roads to even get there and things like that. They carry things on donkeys and that sort of thing. And I've landed in quite a lot of those places. A lot of my flying's been in Africa. And to see those children's eyes, it's incredible. And you know that every single move you're making is having an impact on them.
Yeah.
They are so impressed by what you've just done and how you did that. And I always try and communicate with them and things like that. Although, you know, often you don't speak the language, but you know, if you're willing and they are willing, you can communicate. You know, it's either sign or putting things in place and explaining and all that sort of stuff. And the children, I think it's added a lot of value to children wherever I've landed in that kind of scenario. I think the other thing is that a lot of them realize that there's so much more outside of their little village shacks and all that sort of stuff. When you come flying in, they suddenly realize there's stuff out there that they don't know, which makes them interested in going places and doing things. And yeah, the other thing is that you land in those places, the children are fascinated and they like, wow, and all this kind of thing. But interestingly, I've never landed in one of those places where the children were unhappy. They were always so excited and they were always so interested. And they give so much back just by their enthusiasm, everything they do. And, you know, I've also landed in places, but in desperate war-torn places like Eritrea and Somalia, Sudan, and all these kind of places where there's wars going on. And the children are just, there's something about them that they're just so happy and they get on with life. If they have to just play with basic stuff, they really, really are happy. And a lot of the nonsense that goes on is just older people. You know, it's just the adults and especially the older people, because they all got principles and it's supposed to be like that, and that one did that one, and that's the enemy and all that. But yeah, the other thing is that when you go there, sometimes, like in Eritrea, I nearly got shot. But when you get there, suddenly the whole evil and the enemy disappears. You know, once one of the local people come and speak to you and things. I'll tell you a lovely story that I like to tell about doing that. It was landing on the border of Sudan, on the Kenyan side of the border. It was a desperate place, nothing out there. It's a drought-ridden. It's really hard life, and there were quite a few people around, and we had a problem with the microlight, so we had to land. And then I saw this little outcrop of a little village. It's not even a village. It's just basically where people, a settlement. And we went in and landed there. And this was like remote. And then, of course, everybody in that area just came around the microlight, and they all wanting to start touch and this and that next thing. So it got very, very intimidating. And I was starting to get angry at telling people not to touch it and stand back and all this sort of thing while I'm trying to fix the microlight.
Yeah.
So things got a little bit tense. And then one of the sort of more mature older guys comes up to me, and he could speak some English because nobody could speak English. So he could speak some English, and he came along and he said, can I speak to you? But in broken English. So can I speak to you? I said, if you want to talk to me, you get everybody to stand away at least 10 meters. And because I was angry and frustrated and scared with what was going on. And he very calmly sort of stood back. And he said something in his language, and everybody just, stood back. And I thought, oh shit, this is obviously somebody important, and I've been so rude. And I kind of started thinking, yeah, this is going to be trouble. And then I turned to him and tried to, recover and everything. I said to him, thank you very much, and all that sort of stuff. And he said, no problem. And he said he just wants to come and say hello because he heard about the expedition we were doing. He heard about it on television. And I just thought, here I am in the most difficult part of the world, there in southern Sudan, Kenya thing, in where there's literally nothing there. People aren't even surviving because they can't even get food. And here I land, and television has got that far, that they know what I'm doing. And I was so amazed that it was possible for information to flow that far, that deep into things. But the important part there is that that's how much television and information gets into our hands.
Yes.
Constantly. And if it gets into those remote places in southern Sudan, then you know how it gets to us. And we don't even know it. We got used to it. It's our everyday. And those are the things that are telling us not to go and travel. Those are the very things that are telling us to be scared of this and scared of that or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And we, for example, be scared of coronavirus. Sure, we got to be aware of it, but we got to be sensible about it.
Yeah.
Address it, look at it, be analytical scientists, figure it all out, and everybody's got to be responsible and get on with life.
But
if you're going to fear control you.
Sorry if I interrupt you, but as well you told, it's very easy for people like you, or I can tell also me, that are used to be in a difficult life. I mean, I come from Australia, but it's very easy to travel, but I was traveling in cheap way, free camping, wild camping, and I put myself in a difficult situation. I all the time tell that in 6 months, fly included, I spent 5,000 euro. Nothing. In 6 months.
Yeah.
If you can imagine gasoline and over. But I put myself in a difficult situation. And as well you told, not everybody are used to manage such difficult situation. And I think we have also to be compassionate about the person that cannot manage, and try to show them that it's possible. We are doing this live just for entertainment, not just. It's a little bit more. I want that people understand that if you can fly all over around the world, you can hitchhiking at the age of 18 around the world. It's because it's possible. So if it's possible, you can just try to do different from what is oppressing you. Just try to move on. So I really appreciate that you are talking about your run the world, your climbing mountain, your South Pole expedition, and come on, and you're moving from South Africa to Portugal. That is the point. If you want to do something, it's not just that. Okay, can happen, but in that way something happened. But it's a need inside, a purpose in the mind, and a focus. This is something that we don't have to forget, especially in this moment, because now the focus is lost. I don't have any job. I can wake up at midday. No, you can't. You have a responsibility for your body, for your soul, for your community. I'm doing little charity, not because they need, but because I need to stay active. And this little thing we learn traveling, and I offer my experience, as well you are doing, to the people for understand that if you want something, do something for it. Don't just wait that it will happen. So for me, every year is a great experience, but I want to tell you something that I'm not sure that I told you. Maybe something that, sorry guys, it's a little bit personal, but I think you will like it. When I was awarded in Milan, I get an award for being a traveler. They asked me who I want for give me the award, and they give me a list of important persons, a political, art director of a museum, and blah, blah, blah. And I tell, nobody. And they tell me, who will give you the award? And I thought, Ricky, and you was traveling in that moment from South Africa, moving all your stuff to Lisbon, and you tell me, I don't know if I will get there in Milan in time. And you arrived in Lisbon 4 days before or something like that, 2 days before.
Yes.
And you told me, I don't even know where is my suite. I have just my t-shirt. I tell you, it's a red carpet evening, but come with your shirt. And I was so proud to be awarded from you, because for me, I believe in symbols. I mean, being awarded from a political about traveling doesn't make any sense for me. Being awarded from another travelers, wow, it's like it's a passage. It's a making step by step, let through the idea of the traveling passage. When the people run, how you call that? They pass these buttons.
Yes.
It's like that.
From one to the other.
Yeah, it's a reward also to you, and it's a reward to me.
Yeah.
And this is why we make this interview, because we have to increase this idea that it's possible, but put your mind, heart, and work in traveling or whatever you want, but put you inside, not just I would like one day.
Yeah, I think what we mentioned right at the beginning, to repeat it again, everything takes sacrifices.
Yes.
You're not going to get anything. You're not going to get any rewards. You're not going to be anybody other than as much as you sacrifice. If you're working hard, sacrificing hard and all that sort of thing, then you will get rewards. Doesn't matter how much money you've got.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter where you are in society. The more money you've got, the higher up in society you are, the harder life is going to be for you, because you cannot get on your motorbike and do simple things, because the life is so hard and you're not accustomed to it.
Yeah.
Whereas but if you working hard and you always sacrificing, always doing things, whether it's for yourself or other people, whatever, you're building. It's like an athlete. You're becoming stronger. And I think travel is the most important part because it challenges you psychologically, it challenges you physically. It's uncomfortable and things never go your way. You've got to make them go your way. And once you understand all of those dynamics, it becomes easier and easier, and things are never what you expect them to be. If you want something, you're not going to get it. You might get a version of it, and you've got to accept it and work with it. And sometimes it's a lot better than what you wanted as well.
Yeah,
but if you don't do the sacrificing and the struggling and this chasing and this driving, and if you don't do the hard stuff, you're not going to get the amazing stuff. And there are absolutely amazing rewards out there. You mentioned about driving in the car up to Lisbon. I mean, you can do that because you've done so much of it and you've struggled so hard and all the rest, and you've seen rewards. So you're like hungry to go again because of it.
Well, you lost a lot of weight. You was very skinny after 40 days. I remember you.
It's also, Western Africa is the toughest part of the world to travel in, and it is seriously hard. I don't recommend people go there too quickly or too easily because there's so many other beautiful and easier places to go to that would build you up and make you stronger. And once you've done 20, 30 countries of difficulties, then maybe you can do Western Africa, because it is seriously the hardest place to go through. And then me as an African, I understand the fullness of what's going on around me. I'm not just somebody who comes from the first world traveling through there and everything. So in the meantime, they're unaware of what's going on.
But you was a little bit on the shit when you realized that you was with the policeman on the side, the military on the side of your car.
That happened many, many times. It happened many times. I can tell you exactly what an AK-47 looks like when you look down the barrel, and I can tell you exactly what it's like to run away from being shot at and all that sort of stuff. But that's Western Africa. That's why I say don't go there unless you're a little bit hardened to. You can fly and get into a taxi, go to a hotel, back into your taxi and fly out again. But don't go there with the hardcore. If you want to travel Africa, go do the east side of Africa. The east side of Africa is beautiful. The people are lovely. So many different cultures and things going on. They're accustomed to having Arabs and Indians and Europeans and everything, and the Chinese and everybody. They're used to that. So it's not the end of the world. But in West Africa, there are not too many people that go there, so they're not accustomed to it, and maybe they haven't adapted to that sort of thing.
But we was talking a lot about Africa, but you did also from South America to North. But the last tour that you did, and that was a little part of this, is when you went east. And I can tell that we have 7 days together, and it was just funny also that, because we was in Europe, and we was trying to white camp in the middle of nowhere, and we find a white camp in the hill of Vienna. I mean, who will go camping on the hill of Vienna? We went camping in the hill of Vienna. I mean, adventure, in some meaning, adventure, or if you want to tell, amazing experience can be also close to your own town, because we met so much nice person. Do you remember in Budapest we was looking at this fancy restaurant and we want to make a big breakfast, and then we went to just a bakery and we had I had a fantastic pizza, huge one, and you have a sandwich but very huge, and we paid something like €2. And we was, what? Are you sure? Oh, you fall down, man. I mean,
it's nice. It's nice traveling through places like that where you can still recognize the food.
Yeah.
That's quite nice. But then when you get to other places and you don't recognize the food, yeah, it gets a little bit more difficult. Then you go hungry.
Yeah, you lost a
'Cause you
lot
don't-
of weight. I remember that you post that the first McDonald's that you saw, you jump in. Also, if you're not a fan of McDonald's, but was a
No.
cute. It's for sure it's food
Because I
that I
can
can recognize.
Yeah. That was a lovely trip. That was from Lisbon to Mongolia and back. That was it's beautiful. You know, the country is like, even it was with a 4x4 with the tent on the roof.
Yeah.
You know, and in the mountains of Turkey, and then you're going to Iran. Iran was stunning, beautiful, you know. And if I think of all the things people say about, oh, you don't go to Iran, you're going to get hijacked and all that, oh, it's there. It's a lovely place to travel. And Turkmenistan and all these places, Tajikistan, and right there next to you, 10 meters away, that's Afghanistan. There's Afghanistani people, and it's beautiful, beautiful. And in the mountains, all the way through to Mongolia, and the wild horses. And I think if somebody's looking for somebody's looking for something very unusual, intellectually stimulating, where it's got history, culture, and things, I'd say travel to the East. The Middle East and going to the Stans and everything must be the most intellectually stimulating and culturally, that amount you'll learn is huge. You'll come back from that a changed person. 3 months, which is quite a long time for most people, but if you plan it and organize yourself, you can do it. But if you go for a 3 months trip through those places, go to Iraq, go to Iran, go to Turkmenistan, Uzbekistan, Kyrgyzstan, all that, Kazakhstan, and things like that, you go to those places, you will be so impressed at how amazing those people are, and those places are, and you're never ever going to experience that by watching television. You're just going to get all the negative stories. That is not true. Definitely, I think that's one of the most exciting places in the world I've ever traveled.
Yeah.
Now I've been to, it's just over 110 countries, probably 112, 113. I want to make sure I don't count until I get to 120, because I don't want to go through the 113. So it's like 110, 100. So I've got a fair comparison of countries of different parts of the world. And I can, with a lot of confidence, say that whole area, that Middle East going to the Stans, is really the most fascinating places to visit. The other thing is that people aren't accustomed to travelers, and they aren't accustomed to tourism and everything. So, and they appreciate you coming in.
Yeah.
And they want to show you the best and all this sort of stuff, which is nice to be in a place where you want it. You're not just another, tourist traveling down the street and getting in their way sort of thing, which is nice. Really nice to go somewhere where you want it.
In fact, when I realized when you was back, you declaimed that you are starting to study anthropology. I remember correct? You went to the university.
Yes.
And I'm sure, maybe I'm wrong, tell me, that this last trip through this area, Middle East, give you the push you to go and study this, because I think it inspired you a lot about social, people and community and anthropology. I'm correct or I'm wrong?
It was such the trip through Iran and Turkmenistan and Tajikistan and those kind of places, and Kazakhstan, was so intellectually stimulating. I was reading books on the history of it and everything I was going, and it was so intellectually stimulating that I realized that how hungry I was for intellectual sort of knowledge and understandings and stuff like that, and how much more I wanted to know about those people and places, and how little I knew. And I mean, the history goes back thousands of years before Christianity, before all these kind of things. The history goes back that far, and I'm learning things that you couldn't learn at school. Nobody will tell you these things, and they're amazing. And when I came back, I really felt hungry for something, and I thought to myself, I don't want to go through my life never having had a full understanding of the cultures of the world and the real true history, not the rubbish we learn at school, and about wars and rubbish. I want to hear about the people and their cultures, what's made them who they are, how their families work and all that sort of stuff. And I think through studying anthropology, I can get a lot of that. Plus, it will make it a lot more interesting to travel to places in the future. Sorry, my battery is very low. We may cut out.
Oh yes, we have finished almost because it's very 5 minutes. So I thank you very much for this. And I'm telling you that there is plenty of persons from Pakistan, Iran that are connected. So they will be very happy about your consideration of their country. And I thank you, Vicky, and I say you goodbye so your phone doesn't fall down and you don't crash and you don't think that there is the police knocking at the door because of that discussion that we had. So I thank you. Thank you very much for being with us. I thank you. I close so you don't fall down, and I say hello from you to everybody. Okay?
Grazie.
Prego. Ciao. Ciao.
Arrivederci.
Arrivederci.
Va bene.
Yeah. So we was very proud to have Ricky de Agrela here on 6% page. He's an amazing traveler. He went all over around the world, and we are very proud. So stay tuned because it's not finished. This is Ricky, but next week I hope to have a great Pakistan traveler. I'm working on it. So please stay tuned. You will find on the page 6%, the next traveler that we will interview. And on YouTube, you can find all these interviews piece by piece with the title of the person that we had already done. So stay tuned. See you next time with another great travelers. Thanks, Ricky de Agrela. Thanks to everybody that was connected. I'm sure you get inspired from him because he's such an amazing, incredible person. Bye, guys. Bye from Miriam Orlandi, and see you next time. Follow us. Kiss to everybody.